Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today's episode is going to be on Pick Your Poison. It's going to be an exploration of our collective addiction to escapism and social media and technology. And I'm going to talk about some solutions and my experience. So the first part is to identify the problem, and I'd like to start with an experience that I had with a conversation with a friend. Both of us failed to quit social media completely, and I was talking to my friend earlier last week, and they said they had deleted the YouTube app last month after successfully quitting Instagram a few years ago in order to curb their YouTube addiction. And I really admired their bravery and their full-on approach to going cold turkey. But later they confessed that they had to re-download the YouTube app again because they got sick, physically sick, and bored at home later in the month. So I think that's how his week-long stint ended. Still, I'm very impressed that he managed to quit Instagram successfully for years now, and it's something that still seems very impossible for me. And he responded with, it's a pick your poison kind of situation. And I really agreed with that. It's like you choose what kind of media you want to consume, and you're set for the night. So pick your poison for the night. And for me, the reason why I know I'm addicted is because I use social media as a form to escape. Sex, drugs, or alcohol, forget those traditional poisons. You know, we've learned about how they are so detrimental to us in school, from parents, teachers, from everyone. And nowadays we're moving to more subtle poisons in the digital age. It's an addiction to the mindless overconsumption of media. It contributes to my digital diet all day, every day. You know, I'm waiting for the train and I whip out my phone. So for me, the key to all of these addictions is getting low quality, trashy dopamine from what you're seeing on your phone screen or computer screen, rather than actually going out there and experiencing life itself. What is that? Because this kind of mindless consumption helps us to transcend and escape the mundanity, boredom, and pain of reality and life itself. I'd like to touch on Instagram, YouTube, and movies, and how they've impacted me and contributed to my addiction. So first of all, Instagram is relatively less addictive for me, but the main reason is because I get headaches if I scroll on my phone for an hour. So that is already considered less addictive. And for me, that's because Instagram is like a pocket exhibition or museum. It's a pocket therapist or teacher and a friend. I can travel the world through Instagram. I can appreciate art and others' insane talents, including comedy and memes. I love discovering self-help, self-improvement, and motivational resources on there. And obviously, I connect with my friends on there and keep up with their lives. I basically use Instagram like how I would use Facebook years ago. And I keep up with people's lives, not only my friends, but also complete strangers. So Instagram posts are usually very shiny and perfect, Everyone tries to show off themselves, living their best lives on there by curating a very edited photo or video selection that have been very carefully picked from their camera rolls. My struggle on Instagram is no longer so much envying people for their beauty, but rather their lifestyle. I think my weakness is believing everything I see without remembering that Instagram exaggerates the presence and frequency of relaxation, travel, enjoying the finer things in real life. And I hesitate to say beauty because the beauty is there in real life if we try to look for it. But Instagram exaggerates the luxurious world traveler, lavish lifestyle version of beauty. And this has often made me feel very dissatisfied with my own life because of comparison and feelings of inadequacy. I'm still trying to work on these feelings without thinking that there's something inherently wrong with my current lifestyle. And that is a struggle. The second one, YouTube, is my Achilles heel. And I'm so addicted to YouTube at the point where I can easily spend 1 to 4 hours on YouTube at a time. So for me, the channels that I watch on YouTube are often young people who are doctors or medical students, travelers or vloggers. And these are people that I can relate to and whom I can treat as friends in a very unidirectional relationship. And the community is often very inspiring and like-minded and supportive. And they actually give me the false impression that one day that could be me. If I put in the hard work, put in the necessary investments, it could be me living their lives. I doubt that. And secondly, I always convince myself that I'm learning anything from YouTube videos, including things that expand my worldview and things that expand my capacity for compassion. I know that is true because I really have learned a lot about others' stories and lives from channels growing up. And this also includes knowledge and wisdom that I've used to reparent and guide myself growing up. When I was stuck in Hong Kong during COVID, YouTube was the portal for me to continue traveling and meeting new people and ideas online. But I doubt that it can actually replace living through these things and actually going out there in reality. Thirdly, YouTube is genuinely a no-fuss and super enjoyable way to kill time and boredom, especially after those exhausting days at work, after which I'm just too tired to journal or read a book. So I can just easily watch videos for hours on end in brain dead mode and still feel like at least I'm doing something productive with my time. It's so low effort and comforting. It's meaningful and productive without being taxing. So for me, I'm trying to grapple with the fact that YouTube videos sugarcoat real life. For example, lifestyle vloggers and content creators will always put their best selves forward because videos are essentially their brand values, their marketing. So the watchability factor of videos is a feeling of pleasantness and gained value, which determines whether their audience will return or subscribe. And as a result, mainstream YouTube videos are almost always very upbeat and uplifting, very inspirational and educational. But real life really doesn't work like that. I think there's a lot that people don't show on YouTube. Things that are behind the scenes, ugly or imperfect moments, inner struggles, the whole team working behind a video, and just any other inevitable difficult parts of reality that are bound to exist, you know. The third part, movies. So movies have really been an alternative for my friend and I, because they're more high budget, they're higher quality, they seem to be of more refined taste and sometimes can be more enjoyable and profound. But movies are still a form of poison at its extreme end. I'm also aware of that, even though it seems to be a higher art form. So to me, movies are the perfect form of art and escapism. They create such perfect realities that blur the lines between reality and unreality. And they inform a large mainstream audience of conscious and unconscious culture and values, to the point where the movie's reality can actually become internalized for us and become our reality as well in a mainstream fashion. So this form of art is also so immersive and visual by nature that I remember and internalize so much more of its contents proportionally compared to other forms of escapism. Like YouTube or Instagram, I feel like they can be easily compartmentalized and detached at times. An example for me for movies would be the culture of romanticism that so many mainstream rom-coms or dramas have perpetuated. I grew up watching so many of these rom-coms and idealizing these fairy tale romantic relationships, to the point where when reality came crashing down hard, I still refused to believe that those movies were not accurate portrayals of relationships in their entirety, including healthy communication and healthy boundaries. It took me years of self-worth and unlearning and relearning to realize how damaged these concepts were to me, how damaging they were, and how naive I was from watching those fictional works on the big screen. For this reason, I also went through a short stint of trying to avoid overindulging in movies and their beauty this year, in order to confront my addiction to escapism through movies. It's been all right so far, but also I'm kind of living through Everything Everywhere All at Once and their Oscar win. And I get serious FOMO if I don't, so I don't think that's really successful. The second part of this video or podcast is going to be on the solutions. So what I'm proposing for myself as a plan to quit my addiction to social media and escapism. First of all, whenever I'm thinking of spending a couple of hours on YouTube, I should just get out of the house and do something, anything else in real life. So instead of spending time escaping from my life through my brain only online, I want to escape reality through my body as well, or simply not escape at all. Recently I tried doing this, escaping with my body, and I went for a walk, I went for a jog, got ice cream for like a break and treat after work, instead of only escaping with my brain onto social media. But the initial friction was really high. After a week, I ended up with 2 failed attempts, and the third attempt was successful. And small steps, I think spending one night a week in real life instead of on social media is already huge for me. And I realized that going out into real life and watching real people and real life go by is such a different feeling from watching YouTube on my screen at home. It's much more real and it feels good on my senses. And a part of me still thinks that the latter, like watching YouTube, is still much more enjoyable and comfortable, but I know it's within my comfort zone, and that's why I'm feeling that. It's the trashy dopamine, and I know it's not genuinely healthy or sustainable for my physical or mental health at its core. The key is moderation, because I know I won't be completely able to quit technology and social media ever. I have to use it for work or to connect with friends. And it's not realistic to go on a walk every time I start to get the urge to consume mindlessly, because I have things to do sometimes the next day, and sometimes it's late and you can't just go on a walk by yourself if you're a girl. But I think it's realistic to have alternatives from now on that will give me other forms of distraction from reality. It's pick your poison, right? And the third one is to beat unnecessary distractions by switching off my electronic devices 1 hour before bedtime. I think this is more realistic because it means I can still scroll as much as I want before I go to bed, but then before I really start trying to fall asleep, I have to switch off my devices. And this is effective because I find myself subconsciously reaching for my phone or laptop every time I get a free moment. In the past, this has really interrupted my deep work or journaling before bedtime, because I'd be distracted by a notification on my phone, and it's something that catches my attention and sways it immediately for like a longer period of time than I'd want. And by the time I finish responding to the notification or checking it out, I've forgotten what I went to my phone for or what I was doing before. So this process of like an attention detour is super unsettling for me, because I lose ideas and time and motivation along the way, which means I also end up journaling and working less and sleeping much later. So after trying to switch off my devices earlier, I've succeeded twice so far. I discovered that I still reach for them reflexively. However, on realizing that they've already been switched off, I'm forced to continue with my task at hand immediately without breaking off my train of thought. And finally, I think the ultimate goal for me is to confront what I'm escaping from in real life directly. Why am I trying to escape so often? Why can't I just sit with my thoughts? Is it because there's something that I don't want to learn about myself? Some feelings that I don't want to feel? I suspect that's the case. And the ultimate goal for me is to live my dream life, to create my dream life, which means that I should change what I currently hate about my life so that I will never have to escape reality again. And the obvious answer, but the most difficult one to understand and to face, is that I should alter everything I can in my current life so it becomes a life that I love and I'd want to willingly spend time and energy in and be mindful in, instead of being a life that I want to run away from. It's time to envision my dream life more through self-work and journaling, and to put in the work to make sure I'm living a life that's authentic to me. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and thanks for tuning in. See you in the next one.